a huge brand in the Chinese esports scene. This is iGMacsed.
And in the top left, in the blue, from Brave Star Gaming, this is Cyan. Yeah, he has often gone for those Oracle openers. I think we saw him do Void Rays one time, but I don't think it's like a regular thing from him, and this is where I have a bit of curiosity, like, has it changed? Has he seen the light that is the Void Ray and started to really pack that into his composition, or is he still playing it more standard?
The Adept Shade is one of the few things, along with buildings, that stops the Adept Shades. The Shades will go through force fields, they'll glow through units standing there. So a nice usage of the Shades there from iGMacsed to block, in lieu of using a shield battery or something like that, as you generally want to block with. We are seeing the Hallucinated Phoenix come out here for iGMacsed, so he's having a good look at what's happening in Cyanville. Cyan might get a Stalker for his trouble. Oh, iGMacsed mispathing a little bit there on that Stalker.
Getting a little bit fresh there for Adepts is no joke. But as is fairly standard in PvP, there is a hidden structure, a proxy structure, in fact. And that's not necessarily a place that iGMacsed would traverse past. Maybe if he pathed like an oracle towards the main, he might fly over it. But this really does conceal some information from iGMacsed, who is going to be doing a bit of a flyover with the oracle that serves not only as the harassment but the scouting, of course. And it may ring some alarm bells if he gets in deep enough to be like, hang on, I don't see any tech.
This is very interesting from Cyan. We are actually seeing a Adept Flood with the Resonant Enclaves coming up. And he's going to go for the Proxy Gateway as well, with Shade still blocking the Adept Shade from getting into the main base. Cyan going to go for a very aggressive fight.
Doesn't like us. Get out.
Australians ruining esports for everyone.
Confirmed.
They should put them all on an island somewhere, Zeph. Kappa.
All right, well, Max is going to dip in here now with the double Oracle special. Still hasn't gone into the main, so despite not catching on to the Proxy Gateway there, he's also not really had a look at the tech. Now, with that number of Adepts, you can start to make some educated guesses about what's going on. Let's see how many work kills he can rack up here, because he may be taking some here in his natural, but shield batteries get targeted down immediately. And with the target fire of these Adepts, man, yeah, that's a lot of probe kills, and the Stalkers can also be in danger there too.
It is a lot of probe kills, but I gotta say, you know, Adepts they are effective in niche scenarios, but as the Stalker count gets higher and higher, I kind of like iGMacsd's army more. And especially if you can get a shield battery up, like, Pylon gonna block here. And the Adepts, if they finish that Shade, I actually kind of like this army for iGMacsd. I mean, that's a lot of Adepts, so we will see. Stalkers usually have good toe-to-toe ability against the Adept in just a straight old A-move fight.
Oh, I don't know. I think you're right, Maynard. Like, he is taking out a lot of these Stalkers. Don't get me wrong. He's getting with the shield battery again, too. But
target fire, shield battery, wow.
Oracle's doing a lot of work.
Yeah, certainly are. Yeah, I mean, iGMacsd is taking damages from these Adepts, like, no doubt. But you're right, Zeph. Like, the Oracle across the map is also finding a lot of probe damage. You know, Cyan is not doing this for free. If there wasn't for the Oracles, Cyan would be doing a great job here. He'd be pretty far ahead. But unfortunately, the Oracles exist.
Yeah, and worst case scenario, you can always bring those Oracles home for the defense. At the moment, I think they're pretty out of juice, but as long as they stay alive, he can keep going in there trying to keep getting some of the probe kills. The probe count's still fairly even because they've traded blows quite well, but I feel like you made a good point there on the sort of longevity of those Oracles, if you will. They can just keep coming in, doing damage. It's the early game unit of choice, whereas Cyan, he's had to back off that and decide to transition from here. So he's actually gone into Blink and Robo. But Max has got a similar idea here. Gotta watch it with that one Oracle. Oh my god, that's on -2 health.
-2 health.
-2 squared is 4. I was right.
Wow, you math geek. Saved yourself with that one. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, there's a lot of good dead space area in the top left of Death Aura, so the Oracle's going to make good use of that and save themselves. And again, like I feel like the Adepts have kind of pigeonholed the army of Cyan a little bit. He's heading towards Stalkers now. but he doesn't have anywhere near the Stalker count of Maxed. He's 6 versus the 10 here. He's got more sentries, of course. Still has the threat of Adepts looming at the front of the natural of Maxed. But I actually feel like if Maxed gets another warp-in round of Stalkers, he can actually get a lot done across the map. But I actually think the better call is to slow it down a bit, try and get up a third base, try and secure a third, and start getting towards the robo units. Because one thing that Cyan does have that makes his army a little bit better against the Stalker advantage of Maxed is the Immortal, which he has a head start on.
For sure, yeah. And I think it is scary to leave your base unless it's a scenario where you know where the Adepts are, because otherwise the second you walk out, he's going to shade in there and get some more weapon kills, and suddenly you might not have the same economic position. And then, of course, you got that whole trek all the way over to the other side of the map to do some poke damage, and by that time, the model's already going to be out, as you mentioned. So this is kind of nice for Cyan, actually, to be able to build that up. I don't think Maxed can kill him in the near future, just based off that, but yeah, taking the third, going straight into the attack upgrade here will give him a window where he's got the better force here. In fact, already he could take a decent trade here. It's just going to be a little bit careful with taking too many shots from that Immortal.
Yeah, the Immortal definitely has to be respected. These Stasis wards are Maxed, so he's trying to pull Cyan into a bit of a catch here. But Cyan sees it, catches it there with the Stalkers, takes it down. Thanks, Observer. Oh my goodness.
Cyan saw it coming, but he couldn't quite stop it from happening. Now he's got to awkwardly waddle back up that ramp before too much damage is done. Just a few probe kills is worth it if you can get out without losing too much. Oh my goodness, the setup is unreal.
Debated. Nice. And we have the Invisible Man Clubhouse coming down the Dark Shrine for Maxed, which means Invisible Men are on the way. But also, I feel like almost more importantly, Archons. The Archons with charge are an incredible army in PvP. They just really sort of decimate the front line of the Protoss. They're not super great against Immortals and such, but they kind of are in a weird way because they're primarily shields and they are like an amazing frontline tank unit. So I just love the Archon, and particularly this matchup, and against Zerg as well. Like they're the two matchups where I really love Archons. Terrans have ghosts, unfortunately. So, you know, Archons definitely have that bonus against Bio, and most Terrans will play Bio against Protoss. But you know, when you get ghosts out, which most really good Terrans will have at a certain point against Protoss.
Oh my god, they're alone!
Oh my god! Oh, snap one, and he's blank out of there.
Ooh, that's actually quite concerning because the army supply for Maxed is already that little bit higher. He's got a bit more maneuverability than his opponent does. He's getting charges with better upgrades, so I really feel like he's in control at this point.
Oh
my goodness.
Fool me once. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I think that's how that saying goes.
Unfortunately, can't really stay too much longer and capitalize on that, but he's setting up more spots where he can retreat to try and bait Cyan into those positions should he need to. And now that charge is finished, he's got those zealots, cheeky zealots sitting in that warp prism ready to rock and roll. So Max are going to take a different tactic now, move around towards that third base. Cyan, of course, smartly trying to sit between the two bases so he can defend both at once.
Now, Zeph, can you hear that elephant trumpeting in the corner of your room right now?
I think I can hear it. A distant echo.
Yeah, a distant echo of it screaming. There's a 2 upgrade lead for Maxed versus Cyan.
Well, it might soon be 3, hey?
Yeah, he's only swayed at 3. Forge just finished for Cyan, so hopefully that's not the case for Cyan's sake. But he hasn't started his +1 yet. I'm a bit worried about that upgrade lead. There's that +1, all right. But of course, you know, Cyan is heading towards Disruptors, and Disruptors don't give a flip about your upgrades. They will be just as effective without.
Confirmed. I think both players have a similar idea here, but Cyan's just a little bit slow. He's faster on the 4th base, though, so that may help him get a boost here. I do feel like so far in this game, it's kind of been a bit everything's coming up Millhouse for Maxed because he's just sort of been a little bit ahead just about every way, or a lot of bit ahead in terms of the attack upgrade. They're nice snipe on that Archon too.
Yeah, good pick off there. Archon is 300 gas. It's a lot of gas. Cyan's army retreating up to the top base there to hold that high ground on the 4th. The Archon's obviously going to be really solid against the Zealots, but there's that upgrade lead still here. It's about to become +3 attack for MaxEd. He actually might have a 3 upgrade lead for a minute. I know +1 takes a lot shorter of a time to upgrade versus +3, but that +3 is pretty far along. He's going triple Robo Disruptor on the other side of the map as well. Oh man, MaxEd feels like he's, even though he's down a little bit in supply, he's like got the better army for sure.
Yeah, he's very concerning for Cyan, who's he's teching up a similar fashion, but he's just a little bit slower, and now he's got this portion of his army segmented off. Ooh, MaxEd gets sandwiched between the two halves. He's trying to target down those Archons on his way out. He can head up. Is his stasis trap still there? It is.
Yes, it is. Oh. What's the saying for the third time? The third fall? I don't know. Is there a third one?
Remember.
Look at these guys wiggling their little legs. The Stalker is the same emotion as the same animation as if you get lifted by a phoenix. I always used to laugh at their little legs wagging around. Let me down, you big ugly phoenix. Let me down. Anyway, big disruptor count here for MaxEd, and that is spoopy for Cyan, whose entire army is on the ground. It's going to come down to bowling, Zeph. We're going to go bowling in a minute. Let's go.
Can't wait. MaxEd has just a few less of those bowling balls to dodge than his opponent is going to have, especially if he rallies those extra 3 across. But this is that awkward stage of PvP where no one can really engage and they just trade glowing balls for a minute.
Yeah, there's one of those things where you could be up like 7 or so disruptors and just lose them all to a disruptor flank, which we've seen in DreamHack from other regions. Oh, disruptors coming in from the backside. They are trying to get poked there. This is a good Nova from Cyan. Doesn't quite connect. He just missed.
Small clench there. That could have been pretty dicey.
Whoa, nice blink. Really good pick off there. I mean, anytime you get a disruptor for free, that's what you're looking for here as Cyan. Continuing to maintain an army supply lead. Again, the upgrades though.
The upgrades, and MaxEd's actually dropping another Stargate. So I guess he's got a third phase to this plan as well. He's getting some more defenses up too. I suppose not wanting to get caught out by any harassment from Cyan like he's been doing so far to him. He's got a few results coming in here and there. Oh, okay.
All right.
That's one.
Yeah, there's one. Shadow Stride on the way here for Cyan as well.
Yeah. For all the ways that MaxEd's kind of been ahead or in control of this game, he hasn't been able to kill Cyan. Cyan's now basically maxed.
Basically maxed. Oh my god! MaxEd not looking for a second there. I thought it was going to be way worse. I thought he was going for the disruptors there. Charge lot DT and Immortal holding on to that position. The offensive DTs, of course, are also going to be a problem here for MaxEd, as Shadow Stride's nearly done. Shadow Stride also done for Max. I haven't seen him use the DTs offensively just yet.
I think those were his DTs.
Yeah, those were his DTs. I'm just saying that I haven't seen any DTs from MaxEd across the map yet. They've kind of just been at home.
Yeah.
There's the Cyan versus the MaxEd DTs. The DTs can't see each other.
Just, I'm not sure whose DTs belong to who. But yeah.
Cloak things are always blue.
Desperately waiting for some of those cannons, emphasis bomb cannon, to finish up there so we can actually detect it. Cyan moving forward. Well, 6 probes could have been a lot worse. Oh no.
That was sick from MaxEd. He blunked the DTs out of the Nova and then caught the disruptors getting pathing errored there by Cyan. Move commanding through the middle of the map. He got King's Cove right there. As his army's cleft in twain just by pathing, and MaxEd just took a pretty nice engagement there. Remember how Cyan was ahead like 20 supply in army? Yeah, not anymore.
Now's the time, bro. Push that advantage. I think there couldn't be a better time to try and get in there. Cyan's going to try and move in with these DTs, and of course they take out the cannon to make it super awkward. MaxEd actually give it. There's no response here anymore. He doesn't have an observer or anything. He's making 2 at a time right now, trying to get some coverage. And just parking himself towards the what's that, 5th base of Cyan.
Yeah, he's trying to expand up at 3 o'clock there. His army all at the front of that 3 o'clock, which means that his primary defense is actually very out of position. And now his DTs have the ability to fight back against the other DTs, but the Observer is also coming in for Cyan, so his DTs can fight the other DTs. DTs!
Blink's away. PvP becomes the most insane micro battle.
Right.
Blinking DTs, dodging disruptor shots. It's unreal. Oh my goodness. Okay,
Oof.
not so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, what Cyan's looking for here is the money shot, the one where you kill 6 or 7 disruptors.
Kind Protoss you've had nightmares about. Big points backwards, not taking any risks that a clump of stalkers or anything might get hit there. And finally, it looks like Cyan leaving that base alone. Max said probably retake that momentarily. He's heading into carriers, getting more cannons, knowing his army is going to be working best in a clump.
And catches an arc on there. The DTs also find 3 o'clock. They blink right into where they shouldn't. That's the cannons right there. They might get the cannon though. Oh, skill detection remains in the army with the observer. It feels like Cyan, like, well, I've got to give credit where credit is due. Cyan is actually doing better with the disruptor wars. He's been doing more damage with his disruptors, whereas Maxed hasn't really found really nice connections. As much as I like Cyan's army.
That's a lot of the DTs on top of those disruptors on the left there. Double survive. The DTs do get taken out. And still, we've sort of reached an impasse where neither one is really being able to super commit to an attack, despite Maxed taking a really good engagement earlier. He didn't really get the time to move down there and press the issue because of the DT harassment. He had to pause for a moment, and obviously with defender's advantage as well, Cyan can continue to sort of get those disruptors out one by one, and eventually it's like nothing ever happened. But Maxed, he's probably not looking to make any huge plays now because he's trying to transition into that air army. Oh, nice blink on those speakers.
Yeah, nice catch there. Nice catch there. We are seeing the Maxed is tech shifting right now into the Skytoss army that he likes to have in this matchup. Cyan is as well. Obviously, he's getting +1 ship weapons. That's his intention. But it does seem like Maxed is going to have a head start on that. Now, that does leave you open. It does mean that you have a bit of a window where the ground army is going to be that much more powerful for Cyan. So he's starting to tech shift right now whilst Maxed is already there. And anytime you're tech shifting, you're basically giving up unit production for a little bit. And you're giving up, infrastructure, basically. You're giving up your defenses and your sometimes even your base count when you're putting all these resources into a new line of tech. So Cyan trying to capitalize on that moment is actually finding an angle here on the defense of Maxed. Maxed likewise keeping 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock alive. He's doing a great job defensively.
Yeah, he really is. Having a lot of cannons and shield batteries does help there, and he's going to keep dropping that down every time a little bit of it gets deleted. Carriers are now joining the fray for a second. Oh, he's looking for the right time to engage. That's a lot of disruptibles. That should be it, right? He should be able to press forward a little bit now. On the right-hand side, there's similar attack from Cyan. Maxed has a considerable fault here, though, so he's going to... Oh, actually gets a couple of disruptors there. The carrier's trying to take charge over here. There's actually a bunch of disruptors caught in a swarm of interceptors. Almost forgot the word there.
Yeah. Flying laser boys. They are like this tech shift into carrier is actually really rough for Cyan. He's got a large stalker count. He's going to go for the mothership here. But the Nova's on the ground, and the blink forward means he cannot blink away. And this Nova attack from Maxed supporting the carriers was fantastic. And right now, Maxed is absolutely in the driver's seat of this game. Oh yeah, look at the army supply. Pop a lot of these cannons be moved forward into this pressure mining base. And Charge also going to make it a little bit difficult for the disruptors to actually escape. Cyan may actually be able to clean them all up on the retreat here. Ooh. Yeah, look, that's been very nicely done. Well, the Zealots are coming on in to try and catch those Stalkers. This ground, like this air army is what I'm really worried about for Cyan. Like, yes, Tempest. If you have enough Tempests, you can absolutely counter the carrier army, but it feels like a little bit too little too late from Cyan. And Maxed's kind of caught him in between tech paths here, sort of caught him on his way to something great. And at the moment, Cyan is trying to hold on here at this base, bleeding quite a few units to the Interceptors. The army supplies are quite similar. A lot of Cyan's army still on the ground. The Tempest count still not very high. Dives to the pylon, which is powering a ton of cannons and shield batteries here. And the Interceptor count starting to get a little bit lower for Maxed. He has to ground out this army with a few more Stalkers. They're coming in from downtown. Disruptor Nova comes forward, but Blink off cooldown there. Cyan dodges it. Disruptors get picked up by the charge lots. Ooh, Cyan bringing everything from 12 o'clock all the way for the other side of the map, bringing it in to defend. Big blink forward there from MaxEd, an absolute bloodbath of a battle. Intercept count starting to get a little higher again on these carriers as the Stalkers come forward. Blink off cooldowning, dies for the Disruptors, dies for the Tempests, and that is the finishing blow, I feel, now for MaxEd. Oh no, DTs! Never mind. DTs coming in, then Observer coming in. It is just madness. It's mayhem. It's bedlam.
Spoke a little bit too soon, but he's continuing to rally across here. And if you're warping in Zealots against Stalkers and Carriers, you're probably not having the best of times. There's a Tempest in the mix, a couple in fact, but they're getting targeted by those Stalkers so nicely. It's very hard for them to actually close the distance on these Carriers again. Moving forward with the DT, Stalkers, Zealots on the ground, using the Tempest to shell away at those Carriers. MaxEd having a bit of trouble closing the game out here. One Tempest does fall, the other one falls as well. Is this the moment? No, he has to back up again. He's still just not got that much left.
Yeah, that really is the thing. Like, the army gap has been closed time and time again by Cyan, but as he starts to lose his grip of 9 o'clock, that's when MaxEd will just be able to steamroll. Tempests are coming in from the main again. Stalkers are still here to assist, and every time those Tempests come anywhere near the ground where Stalkers can tread, they are going to be picked off. And as the Observers come in, they get plucked as well, which means DTs won't save his bacon this time. And MaxEd takes a really action-packed game one there. 24 minutes of PvP action, almost the entire series of time and fire. Yay! In the bottom right here, in the blue, which is pretty fitting because his name is Cyan.
In the red, on match point, he is MaxEd. It's so unique.
I love PvP.
This matchup.
Yeah, I love PvP.
I think we love it because we don't have to play it, right?
Yes. I mean, if I had a lot more stock in my ladder ranking and I cared a lot more about ladder ranking and PvP was a matchup that I had to play every single day, then yes, my heart goes out to all my Protoss brothers out there in the ladder. Stay strong, guys. You can do it. Just make Dark Shrine, make DT. You'll do it. You can get those wins, I promise.
Yeah, I think PvP mastery is I don't know. You require a very specific set of skills.
Yeah.
To succeed. Yeah.
Now, this pylon from Cyan is causing a bit of a headache for MaxEd as he really wants to get rid of it. He is winning the store here. Well, more of a Stalker battle, but he is winning it.
That's all you need. If your Stalkers are less damaged, then you're pretty much fine from that point onwards. Cyan is sticking with Blink here. And what's MaxEd doing? He's got a Stargate.
Yeah, indeed. There's a Blink versus Stargate opener. Normally, I like going for Stargate a little bit more here. This battle is a little weird. It is going MaxEd's way, but it's like a very costly fight for both of them.
Yeah. He's just
This is
barely
so funny.
maybe going to come out on top as they walk in single file across the map.
I'm the exact same speed as you. And I'm the exact same speed as you.
Ooh.
Hilarious.
Out of there. Dunzo. Yeah, he's pretty much finished with that. 2 Adepts coming in here to support their Oracle pal that's now floating across the void to see if we can do some damage here. There's already some Stalkers in position in the main for Cyan, and I think he's aware of what's going on. Seeing a little bit of a poke at the Adepts there, going, I'm pretty sure what that, I know what's that, English, pretty sure I know what that's for. And there we go, he's very well prepared for that. That Oracle actually needs to be real careful, probably wants to rebuild the shields on that for a sec before he comes back in. Very nicely handled by Cyan so far.
Indeed. I like the Twilight Council follow-up here from MaxEd, so he's not going super ham on the Stargate just yet. Is still going to make a ground army. They're just going to use the Oracles for a little bit of an early game map control, scouting, and damage, which is really like why the Oracle is so good. We saw him even find a lot of utility in Stasis Ward, so it's not just the Pulsar Beam and the fact that you can use Revelation for detection, and also it's a fast scouting unit. It is just like such a solid unit. We're actually seeing a Stasis Ward here from MaxEd being utilized back at home in the natural, because his ground army is a tiny bit smaller.
Yeah, not surprised in the least to see him go Oracles again, honestly. He's had success in previous seasons with this, and we see why, right? He's really mastered how to use them.
Oh.
to their maximum capability. Now, this is not really in Cyan's plan, is it? 3 Adepts in your mineral line, you will definitely get some worker kills here before they get killed.
Yeah, anytime you let the Adept in, it's the onus is kind of on you there, buddy, but at least it does get rid of the Adepts. You know, it's in a glass half full scenarios that the Adepts are dead. 4 probes to 2 Adepts, so it's not too bad. But actually, it was 3 Adepts, wasn't it?
3, yeah.
That's actually not bad at all for Cyan, I think, all things considered.
Yeah, I'm a little more concerned about those oracles coming back in, peeking away at a few more probes, going back, coming back in later, and that really adds up. Already we see MaxEd has a bit of a worker lead here, right? So if you can continue to diminish the amount of probes that are sitting on Cyan's mineral lines, then you can get that similar sort of momentum in the game where you're just a little bit ahead on your tech. Already we see him pumping out that +1. He's getting his own blink, which will be done shortly, getting the robo. So he'll be in a very good position if he can continue with his game plan here. Stasis trap. He's gonna snipe this time.
Yeah, Cyan not gonna get caught by that stasis trap this time. MaxEd's army a little bit on the light side versus Cyan's, but Cyan's gonna try and pick an angle here. So I got the observer on the edge of the map main, and he sees the stasis ward in the main as well. That's the blink bait. Oh, revelation and a pick off there on the observer denies some high ground vision from Cyan. Just in case Cyan did want to go for that strat, it has been denied for now. You can always use hallucinations as well. A lot of ways to, skin a cat, as it were.
Yeah. Both players holding fairly strong. Cyan is looking much healthier in the worker count now with the quicker third base as well. He can take over with that too, continuing to poke forward with these stalkers.
Oh, wow.
MaxEd has a few now though, so
yeah, that bit of a blink there from both players. Cyan trying to blink to escape, but loses a stalker on the tail end. MaxEd nearly did, but not quite. We are seeing a switch into charge here for Cyan. Now, when charge finishes, he is going to have the better army for a little bit against MaxEd. The charge really can punish a guy that's basically just on blink stalkers with a few oracles. Like I know that oracles, rather zealots don't shoot up and can't deal with the oracles, but they can really annihilate a stalker heavy army. So charge lots are an excellent follow up here for Cyan. He's having a lot of gateways as well. His third base has been saturated quicker. He is up 7 probes. So I actually kind of like this for Cyan at the moment. I'm liking his position. +1 is done for MaxEd. He's going to try and hit with the stalkers here while +1 is done. And his opponent's is not.
Yeah, a lot of gateways finishing up here for Cyan though, and with that charge, like you pointed out, does a lot of damage to those stalkers. So we'll see how much success he has using the oracles to join in as well. Yeah, Warp River goes straight into the main. We saw Cyan have a little bit of trouble with this before. He's actually all the way over the third base. He's not prepared for this at all.
Oh no, Cyan did not expect this whatsoever. No spotters out on the map. He's going to have a lot of his infrastructure depowered as well. He just made a ton of gateways. He has to go for a recall on the main base. The stasis wards are here as well. The observer needs to come off to get rid of the stasis wards. The observer is in here for Cyan. Stasis ward fires on the left side, taking 2 stalkers out of the mix. 2 stalkers still on the natural. They're actually getting assisted by the shield battery, but there's no shield battery in the main base to assist these stalkers, which are losing in a concave against MaxEd's reinforcing army. This prism's still safe, and the oracle even assisting. Dives for the prism, takes it down, but MaxEd with so many more stalkers, it doesn't even matter.
Oh, there's just no chance
denied
for
as well.
Oh, it's so close to being finished too. But when an opponent jumps into your main like that and you're over your third base, he's gonna get the call, and that's just gonna be curtains for Cyan here. MaxEd with a very, very convincing win.